Hey there, y'all, and welcome to today's Daily Down and Dirty. My name is Fairlight. Welcome to Airy Fairy Tarot. All right, y'all, the message today is can't hold what could have been. Seems like there's a theme going on. I don't know if a lot of people are ending relationships or at least reevaluating relationships. Again, I keep mentioning we've got Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde both in Aries. Also looking at this reading, I wonder if there's something to do with Neptune at the last degree of Pisces. It feels that, I keep hearing a lot about delusion and stuff, and it just seems like some of us might have delusions about situations in our lives. It keeps coming up looking more romantic than anything, but again, this could be romanticizing your own ideals. This can be romanticizing, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but it can be romanticizing certain situations where you're hoping things will get better, but the reality is, we'll just go ahead and get started. So, we start with, I'm trying to decide which one to start with. Really, it was the Chariot reversed. And I love this imagery. I wanted to read what the book had to say because I noticed he's like stabbing himself in the head, and it reminded me of the king of, which king is that? One of the kings in a regular deck of playing cards is stabbing himself in the head. I would guess it'd be spades. And so while the Chariot doesn't normally hold like a swords type of energy, suddenly that feels like it wants to be injected. And this is reversed. And just kind of stabbing himself in the head. And like I said, in light of the rest of the reading, it's like you don't want to see clearly maybe. And I'm not trying to, piss anybody off, but I'm just here to give a perspective, So we've got this Chariot reversed. The Chariot is about your destiny. The Chariot is about aligning to your true soul's path. I like to look at it that way. And so with this being reversed, it's like you're keeping yourself from aligning to your truth and like trying to cut the truth out your head or something. I don't know. And then crossing that is the Five of Mirrors or Five of Cups. I like that they use mirrors in this deck because it is such a self-reflective or just a reflective nature where we can see ourselves in a new light. It's about depth, it's about emotion, feelings, whatever. And the Five of Cups, typically I always want to say honor the grief. Whatever it is that you're grieving, whatever didn't work out, whatever this disappointment is, honor it. We don't want to suppress things, but at the same time, honor it and then let it go. Which, some of us have a hard time honoring the grief, and then some of us have a really hard time letting it go. I'm probably one of those who has a hard time letting it go. But it's a whole process that you undertake. And with this being on its side, and it fell in my lap sideways, but I did kind of feel like it was crossing this Chariot energy. So it's like not being able to get on the path because you're not getting over something that you're disappointed about or grieving. I also want to point out on this card though that she's got this lotus at her heart, and so it does feel like once you're done processing the grief, there is a blossoming of the heart. There is some sort of an opening. And so traditionally it's like you turn around and there's two cups still standing, and then you go further, there's a bridge that leads to a castle, whole new adventure waiting for you. And so again, with the Chariot card, even though it's reversed, it does feel like there's a new adventure waiting for you, and it's just a need to kind of let yourself move on, I guess. I want to get to this Two of Mirrors energy, but above this energy with the Chariot and the Five of Mirrors, we've got the Healer, which is the Page of Mirrors reversed, and we've got the Star card upright. And both of these can be more cards of reflection. With the Healer being reversed, the Page of Mirrors, it's like not accepting, I don't know, that's not what I was going to say, but that's what I was hearing, not accepting new love into your life. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic love, although it could be, but it could be not accepting new opportunities for fulfillment. We can just say that, whether those opportunities have to do with personal relationships or those opportunities have to do with living your passions, wherever fulfillment can find you, it's like you're just not embracing those opportunities. And so I take this star card in two different ways. One, that's that whole can't hold on to what could have been kind of energy. So I'll go ahead and come over here. We've got the Two of Mirrors, which is the Two of Cups, traditionally soulmate energy. And that is upright, and it's this beautiful, beautiful card. And so it would be lovely if it was just like, yeah, this is this. And I was kind of hoping that maybe this reading was like, this is a love that can withstand the storm. But I don't think that's what it's saying, unfortunately, because of these here. And so then behind that Two of Mirrors, we've got the Four of Scrolls reversed. We've got the 10 of Spirals reversed, and then we've got the Hermit reversed. And so really, you know, and I'm calling myself out probably just as much as I'm calling anybody else out. So haven't been easy reads lately, but you know, we'll get through it. We will get through this. So so the Four of Scrolls, it's the Four of Swords, whoops. And that's reversed. It's interesting because sometimes I see the Four of Swords in alignment with the Hermit card. So it's interesting, they're both here and they're both reversed with this 10 of Spirals or 10 of Fire in between. It just seems that there is a resistance to going within and finding the light of your own consciousness, like really focusing on the truth. That's kind of what this Five of Mirrors is about too. There's a need for some inner self reflection. There's a need to tune into that inner light and be alone, but it kind of feels like there's such a holding on to whatever this situation is, that it's like you're afraid to be alone, but it looks like you're alone anyway. It just feels like a very lonely, connection. Looking at these, and then I've got some more cards coming up. So yeah, and the 10 of Spirals, this is fire energy. 10 of Wands, you see that he's carrying this heavy burden. And 10s indicate the completion of a cycle. It's like you're getting to the end of this storyline and this timeline, whatever you want to call it, and you're getting to the end where the burdens that this whatever this connection represents, all these burdens can be laid down. I do like that it's still upright. Like, I don't think, and I think I said it in a reading the other day, we don't have to villainize the other person. We don't have to villainize the situation. We can look at it as we've learned something, and now it's time to go within and rest and reflect on what it is that we've learned. But but you've got to let it end. And I mean, you don't have to, but then underneath this star and this Page of Mirrors reversed, not only do we have the Chariot and the Five of Mirrors, but we've also got this 8 of Spirals, and you see that this deer is running, and I couldn't help but notice, like, the way it looked like she was pouring her starlight down and then it was raining down. And so I'm like, what's going on here? Because this is also a card of healing. This is a card of hope. Like, even after everything falls apart, it's like there is healing, and then it looks like it can come in very quickly. But so that's why I wanted to look at this as different ways, because, and I'm going all over the place, I'm sorry, I just felt like I had to get some clarity on a couple things. It looks like if you're willing to allow the situation to end, and you turn these right side up and you allow yourself to go within with this Hermit card, and you allow yourself to reflect and to rest from it all, integrate the experience, and, you know, find your own self-reflection in this, all of that stuff, and then you allow this healing, then quickly it can lead to the Seven of Scrolls, which normally the Seven of Swords can be a card of like deceit. But in this case, I read the little book because they did take a different take on all these, calling them scrolls and spirals and mirrors and stones. But really, this is more about being being more decisive to take a risk. It felt like, just because one door might be more appealing because it feels comfortable, the other door holds a path to the unknown, and in some ways it felt like the unknown might be a direction for you to go in. And so it feels like you can go on the new adventure. But then when I was asking, well, what if this star pertains to this Two of Mirrors? And then very quickly it led to the Two of Scrolls reversed and the Sun reversed. And the Sun is crying. So it just kind of feels like if you choose to stay in this situation, you might end up being kind of stuck for a while, which might be what you think you want. But with the Sun reversed, like, you can have what you want, but it's not really everything you want. So that's why I called it, how can you hold what could have been? Because it's almost like, hanging on to this idea of potential and what it can be. But if you've already discovered this connection to be unfulfilling, it's like you get what you want, but you don't really get what you want. I don't know, these two cards together just kind of feel like the Four of Cups. It's just like settling for less than what you really want. And again, with that Sun crying, I don't know, it's just like having to dim your light. Sun reversed, it just always feels like you're dimming your light. It's like there's so much potential for you. And your potential is just beneath the surface. But when you put all of your energy into this connection and they're not really pouring into you, you end up pouring more into the connection, and then you get neglected. So it just kind of feels like, rather than avoid the pain of being alone, maybe it would benefit you a lot to go into the pain and then unlock your true destiny and allow your true light to shine with the sun and the star. And there's so much hope. And so, maybe this is just a trauma bond. Maybe this represents unhealthy generational patterns or whatever, that you can heal if you want to. You can go on the road unknown. Just because it doesn't feel familiar doesn't mean that it isn't the path to your destiny. So, I would just say choose wisely. That's all I have for today. Once again, my name is Fairlight. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and love. Until next time.